First contact. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Captain Elena Rodriguez as she stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. The ship's sleek design and state-of-the-art technology represented humanity's greatest achievement in space travel, allowing them to venture further into the cosmos than ever before. "Captain, we're picking up an anomalous energy signature," reported Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "It's unlike anything we've encountered before." Elena leaned forward, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the readout. "Origin. Approximately 500,000 kilometers off our port bow, in the direction of the Cygnus constellation," Akira replied, his voice tinged with excitement and apprehension. "Alter course to investigate," Elena ordered, her heart racing with the thrill of discovery. This was why they had embarked on this mission, to push the boundaries of human knowledge and explore the unknown. As the horizon approached the source of the energy signature, tension mounted on the bridge. The crew, a diverse mix of Earth's finest scientists and explorers, worked in practiced synchronicity, each focused on their tasks but acutely aware of the potential significance of this moment. "Visual contact in 10 seconds, announced Dr. Zora Patel, the ship's lead xenobiologist. Her dark skin seemed to glow with anticipation in the soft blue light of her console. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that left the entire bridge crew speechless. A massive vessel, easily 10 times the size of the horizon, hung in space before them. Its hull was a dark, mottled green, covered in what appeared to be overlapping scales. Protruding from various points along its length were wicked-looking spines and what could only be described as tentacles, slowly undulating in the vacuum of space. "My God," whispered Elena, her voice barely audible. "It's alive." As if in response to her words, the alien ship suddenly came to life. The tentacles began to move with purpose, and a pulsing light emanated from what appeared to be sensory organs dotted across its surface. "Captain, we're being scanned." Akira's voice was sharp with alarm. "Our shields are holding, but barely. Whatever that beam is, it's like nothing we've ever encountered." Elena's mind raced through their options. First contact protocols dictated peaceful intentions, but the sheer alienness of the vessel before them made her question whether standard procedures would apply. "Open a channel on all frequencies," she commanded, straightening her uniform. "Let's try to communicate." Before the communications officer could comply, a deafening screech tore through the ship's speakers, causing everyone on the bridge to clutch their ears in pain. The alien vessel's tentacles whipped through space with frightening speed, wrapping around the horizon's hull. "Evasive maneuvers," Elena shouted, but it was too late. The horizon shuddered violently as it was pulled towards the monstrous ship. "Hull integrity at 85% and falling," reported the ship's eye, its calm voice a stark contrast to the chaos unfolding on the bridge. Elena gripped the arms of her command chair, her knuckles white. "All hands, brace for impact. Prepare for possible boarding action." The next few moments were a blur of motion and sound. The horizon's engines strained against the alien ship's grip, but to no avail. With a sickening crunch, the two vessels collided, and an eerie silence fell over the bridge. "Report," Elena demanded, her voice hoarse. "Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. The AI responded. "Emergency force fields are holding. Life support systems stable. No casualties reported." A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge crew, but their respite was short-lived. The main doors hissed open, revealing a sight that would haunt Elena's dreams for years to come. A creature stepped onto the bridge, its body a mass of rippling muscle covered in the same mottled green scales as the ship. It stood nearly 3 meters tall, with 4 powerful arms ending in razor-sharp claws. Its head was a nightmarish blend of insectoid and reptilian features, with multiple eyes that gleamed with an unsettling intelligence. Elena slowly rose from her chair, her hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. I am Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth ship Horizon. We come in peace and seek to establish diplomatic relations." The creature's head tilted to one side, its mandibles clicking together in what might have been curiosity or hunger. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke, not with its mouth, but through some form of telepathy that resonated directly in their minds. "I am Zixtal, Hive Commander of the Zithran Collective." The aliens' thoughts boomed in their heads. "Your species is unknown to us. Explain your presence in our hunting grounds." Elena swallowed hard, acutely aware that the fate of humanity might rest on her next words. "We are explorers from a planet called Earth. We seek knowledge and peaceful coexistence with other intelligent life forms." Zixtal's eyes narrowed, and Elena felt a pressure in her mind, as if the alien was probing her thoughts. "Peaceful." The creature's mental voice dripped with skepticism. "Your kind are prey. Weak. Soft. Yet, there is something unexpected." Before Elena could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Akira's voice cut through the cacophony. "Captain, we're detecting multiple warp signatures, ships dropping out of FTL all around us." The view screen flickered to life, showing a terrifying sight. Dozens of ships, each as massive and alien as the one that had captured them, materialized out of the void. But they weren't alone. Sleek, angular vessels of an unfamiliar design appeared as well, immediately opening fire on the Zithran ships. Zixtal's mental voice roared in their minds. "Phyraxians, the eternal enemy." The alien turned to Elena, its demeanor suddenly shifting from predatory to almost desperate. "Humans, you claim to seek peace. Prove it. Help us fight, or we all perish this day." Elena looked around at her crew, seeing the fear and uncertainty in their eyes. But she also saw determination and courage. In that moment, she made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "We'll help you," she said firmly. "But in return, we expect an alliance. No more treating us as prey. We fight as equals." Zixtal's mandibles clicked rapidly, and Elena sensed a mix of surprise and respect from the alien. "Agreed, human. Now, to battle." As the Horizon's crew scrambled to battle stations, and Zixtal began relaying tactical information, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the bizarre turn of events. They had set out to explore the universe and make first contact. Instead, they found themselves in an alien war, fighting alongside the very creatures that had moments ago seemed bent on their destruction. The battle that ensued was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced. The Zithran ships moved with an organic fluidity that defied conventional space combat tactics. The Horizon, though smaller and less powerful, proved nimble and adaptable. Human ingenuity combined with Zithran ferocity in ways that caught the Phyraxian forces off guard. Hours passed in a blur of tactical maneuvers, weapons fire, and desperate improvisation. Elena found herself working in surprisingly effective tandem with Zixtal, their minds linking in a way that transcended language barriers. Together, they coordinated a bold counterattack that slowly but surely turned the tide of battle. As the last Phyraxian ship retreated into hyperspace, a stunned silence fell over the Horizon's bridge. Humans and Zithrans alike stood in disbelief at what they had accomplished together. Zixtal turned to Elena, its mental voice tinged with a newfound respect. "You fight with a ferocity that belies your fragile forms, humans. Perhaps we have misjudged your kind." Elena managed a tired smile. "And you've shown us that appearances can be deceiving. I think we have much to learn from each other." As the adrenaline of battle faded, Elena realized the enormity of what had transpired. Humanity had not only made first contact, but had also formed an alliance with a species that, by all rights, should have seen them as nothing more than prey. The implications were staggering. "Captain," Akira's voice broke through her thoughts. "What do we do now?" Elena looked at Zixtal, then back at her crew. "Now," she said with a mix of exhaustion and excitement, "we begin the real work of building an alliance, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of a much larger adventure." As the Horizon and the Zithran fleet began emergency repairs, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that the universe had just become a much more complicated and infinitely more interesting place. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger galactic community, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Unlikely Alliance. The days following the battle against the Phyraxians were a whirlwind of activity aboard the ESS Horizon. Captain Elena Rodriguez found herself at the center of a delicate diplomatic dance, trying to forge a lasting alliance with the Zithrans, while also preparing for the potential return of the Phyraxian threat. Captain's log, stardate 225789. Elena spoke into her personal recorder. It's been a week since our unexpected encounter with the Zithrans and the subsequent battle. The crew is adapting remarkably well to our new guests. She paused, glancing out the viewport of her ready room at the massive Zithran high ship that now traveled alongside the Horizon. The sight still filled her with a mix of awe and trepidation. Zixtal and a small contingent of Zithrans have agreed to remain aboard the Horizon as we work to establish communication protocols and share tactical information. Dr. Patil is having a field day studying their biology, while Lieutenant Commander Tanaka is working on integrating our technologies. It's not been without its challenges, but progress is being made. A chime at her door interrupted her log entry. "Enter," she called out. Dr. Zora Patel strode in, her usual composed demeanor barely concealing her excitement. "Captain, you need to see this," she said, holding up a data pad. Elena took the pad, her eyes widening as she scanned the information. "Is this accurate?" she asked, looking up at Zara in disbelief. Zara nodded emphatically. "Triple-checked, Captain. The Zithran's genetic structure is, well, it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. Their ability to adapt on a cellular level is nothing short of miraculous. It explains how they've become such formidable predators and potentially valuable allies," Elena mused. "What about the communication issues?" "That's the other fascinating part," Zora continued. "Their telepathic abilities seem to be tied to this adaptive trait. We're theorizing that with some work, we might be able to enhance our own latent telepathic potential to communicate more effectively with them." Elena leaned back in her chair, processing the implications. "Keep working on it, Doctor. This could be the key to solidifying our alliance." As Zara left, Elena's comm badge chirped. "Rodriguez here. Captain, we've got a situation in the mess hall," came Akira's tense voice. "You might want to get down here." Elena rushed to the mess hall, her mind racing through worst-case scenarios. As the doors slid open, she was greeted by a scene of barely contained chaos. A group of Zithrans, led by Zixtal, stood at one end of the room, their postures tense and threatening. Facing them was a group of human crew members, some holding makeshift weapons. Between them stood Akira and Chief Security Officer Maria Kovic, trying to maintain order. "What's going on here?" Elena demanded, her voice cutting through the tension. Akira turned to her, relief evident in his eyes. "Cultural misunderstanding, Captain. The Zithrans were sampling our food supplies. Some crew members took offense." Elena surveyed the scene, noting the spilled food and the looks of disgust on both human and Zithran faces. She approached Zixtal, consciously projecting calm and openness in her thoughts. "Zixtal, perhaps you could explain your actions," she asked, maintaining eye contact with the towering alien. The Zithran's mental voice resonated in her mind, tinged with confusion and a hint of embarrassment. "We meant no offense, Captain Rodriguez. In our culture, sharing sustenance is a sign of trust and alliance. We wish to partake in your food to strengthen our bond." Helena nodded, understanding dawning. She turned to address both groups. "Listen up, everyone. We're embarking on something unprecedented here. There will be misunderstandings, cultural clashes, but we cannot let these incidents divide us. The Phyraxians are still out there, and we need to stand united." She gestured to the scattered food. This mess hall is now officially a cultural exchange zone. Zithrans, humans, I want you mixing, sharing meals, learning about each other. That's an order. The tension in the room slowly dissipated as both species began to cautiously interact. Elena watched as a young ensign hesitantly offered a piece of fruit to a Zithran, who accepted it with surprising gentleness. Over the next few weeks, these cultural exchange sessions became a regular occurrence. Humans learned about the complex social structures of Zithran hives, while the aliens showed increasing interest in human concepts like individual identity and creative expression. One evening, as Elena was reviewing reports in her ready room, Zixtol requested entry. The Zithran commander had become a frequent visitor, their discussions ranging from tactical planning to philosophical debates. Your species continues to surprise us, Elena. Zixtol's thoughts resonated as the alien settled into a specially designed chair. Your adaptability rivals our own, yet you achieve it through technology and ideas rather than biological evolution. Elena smiled. We've had to be adaptable to survive. Earth's history is filled with challenges that forced us to innovate or perish. Zixtol's multiple eyes blinked in what Elena had come to recognize as deep thought. Perhaps that is why the Phyraxians fear you. They see in humans the potential to upset the balance of power in the galaxy. You think that's why they attacked? Elena leaned forward, intrigued. It is possible. Zixtol's mental voice was grave. The Phyraxians have long sought to dominate through technological superiority. A species that can match their adaptability and innovation would be seen as a threat. Their conversation was interrupted by a violent shudder that rocked the ship. Alarms blared as Elena and Zixtol raced to the bridge. Report. Elena barked as she took her seat. Icarus' fingers flew over his console. Multiple Phyraxian ships just dropped out of warp, Captain. They've opened fire on the Zithran High ship. Elena's mind raced. The Horizon's weapons were no match for the Phyraxian fleet, but they couldn't abandon their allies. Evasive maneuvers. Tanaka, what's the status of that integrated shield technology you were working on? It's not fully tested, Captain. Akira replied, his voice tense. But it's the best shot we've got. Do it, Elena ordered. She turned to Zixtol. Can your ship hold out long enough for us to get this working? The Zithran's mental voice was strained but determined. We will endure, Elena. Together, we will show these Phyraxians the true meaning of alliance. As the battle raged around them, humans and Zithrans worked in perfect synchronicity. The Horizon darted between larger ships, its experimental shields flickering as they absorbed enemy fire. The Zithran High ship moved with surprising agility for its size, its biological weapons leaving trails of destruction in the Phyraxian fleet. Hours passed in a blur of tactical maneuvers and desperate gambles. Elena found herself linked with Zixtol in a deep telepathic connection, their combined strategic skills guiding both ships through the chaos. Just when it seemed the tide was turning in their favor, a massive Phyraxian dreadnought emerged from warp. Its weapons charged, aiming directly at the Horizon. Brace for impact. Elena shouted, but the expected blast never came. Instead, a blinding light engulfed the bridge. When it faded, Elena found herself standing in a vast, ethereal space. Beside her was Zixtol, looking equally bewildered. Before them stood a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting. Humans. Zithrans. The being's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Your alliance was unexpected, yet it has altered the course of galactic events. You have proven yourselves worthy of joining a greater community. Elena and Zixtol exchanged glances. Who are you? Elena asked, her voice steady despite her awe. We are the Guardians, the being replied. Long have we watched over the younger races, intervening only when necessary. Your united stand against the Phyraxians has shown us that perhaps it is time for a new approach. With those words, the ethereal space dissolved, and Elena found herself back on the Horizon's bridge. The Phyraxian fleet was gone, retreating into the depths of space. As the crew celebrated their unexpected victory, Alina and Sixtel shared a moment of silent understanding. Their alliance, born of necessity and forged in battle, had opened the door to something far greater than either of them could have imagined. The galaxy, it seemed, would never be the same again, and humanity, hand in hand with their unlikely Zithran allies, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Cultural exchange. The weeks following the Guardians' intervention saw a flurry of activity across both human and Zithran vessels. The revelation of a higher power overseeing galactic affairs had sent shockwaves through both species, prompting intense philosophical discussions and revaluations of their place in the universe. On the horizon, Captain Alina Rodriguez found herself at the center of these discussions, often mediating between different factions that had formed among the crew and their Zithran guests. Captain's log, supplemental. Alina spoke into her recorder. It's been a month since our encounter with the Guardians. The immediate Phyraxian threat seems to have receded, giving us time to focus on strengthening our alliance with the Zithrans. Today marks the beginning of a formal cultural exchange program. She paused, a small smile playing on her lips. To be honest, I'm not sure who was more nervous, us or them. The mess hall had been transformed into a makeshift auditorium. Humans and Zithrans mingled, their initial wariness giving way to genuine curiosity. Alina stood at the front, Zixtel towering beside her. "Welcome, everyone," Alina began. "Today, we start a journey of mutual understanding. We fought side by side. Now it's time to learn how to live side by side." Zixtel's mental voice resonated through the room. "We Zithrans have long viewed other species as prey or threats. This alliance challenges everything we thought we knew. We are eager to learn." The first presentation came from Dr. Zora Patul, who had been working tirelessly to understand Zithran biology. The Zithran's adaptive capabilities are nothing short of miraculous, she explained, gesturing to a holographic display of Zithran's cellular structure. Their bodies can alter their genetic makeup in real time, allowing them to adapt to new environments or threats within minutes. A young Zithran scientist named Vexera stepped forward, her mental voice tinged with excitement. "And we have discovered that humans possess a remarkable trait of their own, neuroplasticity. Your brains can form new neural connections throughout your lives, allowing for continuous learning and adaptation. It is fascinating." The exchange continued, covering topics from art and music to governance and technology. The humans were particularly intrigued by the Zithrans' hive-like social structure, while the aliens showed great interest in human concepts of individual freedom and creativity. As the day progressed, Alina noticed something extraordinary happening. The initial formality of the exchange was giving way to more organic interactions. In one corner, a group of human engineers and Zithran biotechnicians were deep in discussion, sketching out ideas for hybrid technologies. Nearby, a Zithran was attempting to play a human musical instrument, producing sounds that were both otherworldly and strangely beautiful. "Remarkable, isn't it?" Zixtal's mental voice interrupted Alina's observations. "I never imagined we could find such kinship with another species." Alina nodded, watching as a human chef introduced a group of curious Zithrans to the art of baking. "It's what we do best," she replied. "Find common ground, even in the most unlikely places." The cultural exchange program continued over the following weeks, yielding unexpected results. The Zithrans, inspired by human art, began creating bioluminescent sculptures that pulsed with alien life. Human scientists, in turn, made breakthroughs in adaptive materials by studying Zithran biology. One evening, as Alina was reviewing the day's reports, her door chimed. "Enter," she called out. To her surprise, it was Vexera, the young Zithran scientist. The alien's posture was hesitant, almost shy, a stark contrast to the usual predatory stance of her species. "Captain Rodriguez," Vexera's mental voice was soft. "I hope I'm not disturbing you. I wanted to share something." Intrigued, Alina gestured for her to continue. Vexera produced a small, pulsating object from a pouch in her exoskeleton. As Alina watched, the object shifted and changed, taking on various shapes and colors. "It's beautiful," Alina breathed. "What is it?" "We call it a memory seed," Vexera explained. "It's how we traditionally pass down important memories and knowledge through generations. But this one I made for you. It contains my experiences, my feelings about our alliance." Touched by the gesture, Alina carefully took the memory seed. As her fingers brushed against it, a flood of images and emotions washed over her. She saw the Zithran's initial fear and mistrust give way to curiosity and respect. She felt their growing admiration for human resilience and creativity. "Thank you, Vexera," Alina said, her voice thick with emotion. "This is an incredible gift." The Zithran ducked her head in what Alina had come to recognize as their version of a smile. "We have a saying, to know one's prey is to become the prey. I think we're beginning to understand what that truly means." As Vexera left, Alina sat back, turning the memory seed over in her hands. It was moments like these that reinforced her belief in the Alliance's potential. However, not everyone shared her optimism. A few days later, Alina found herself mediating a heated argument between Lieutenant Maria Kovac and a group of Zithran warriors. "They're not taking our security protocols seriously," Maria fumed. "They treat our training exercises like some kind of game." The lead Zithran warrior, Krastil, mental voice, was indignant. "Your protocols are inefficient. We have survived as apex predators for millennia. Our instincts are superior." Alina raised her hands, calling for calm. "Both of you have valid points," she said carefully. "Maria, the Zithran's natural abilities are an asset we need to incorporate into our strategies. Krastil, human protocols have been developed through centuries of conflict and peacekeeping. There's wisdom in them that goes beyond pure instinct." She looked between the two groups. "I want you to develop a new hybrid training program. Combine the best of both approaches. Show me what humans and Zithrans can accomplish together." The result, weeks later, was a security force unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Human strategic thinking and technology combined with Zithran strength and adaptability created a formidable team capable of handling a wide range of threats. As impressive as these developments were, they paled in comparison to the breakthrough that came from an unexpected quarter. Akira Tanaka, working closely with a team of Zithran bioengineers, made a startling discovery. "Captain," Akira's excited voice came over the comm. "You need to see this. We're in Science Lab 2. When Alina arrived, she found Akira standing next to a strange, organic-looking console. Zithran scientists hovered nearby, their mental excitement palpable. "What am I looking at, Tanaka?" Alina asked, eyeing the pulsating machinery. Akira's grin was wide. "The future of space travel, Captain. We've managed to combine Zithran biotechnology with our warp drive principles. This prototype engine, it doesn't just bend space, it adapts to it." One of the Zithran scientists, Zilvik, chimed in. "It is like how we adapt to new environments. But for the ship, it will make the vessel part of space itself." Alina's mind reeled at the implications. "You're saying this could revolutionize our ability to explore?" Akira nodded enthusiastically. "If our calculations are correct, this engine could take us further and faster than we ever dreamed possible. And that's not all. The organic components mean the ship could potentially heal itself, adapt to different types of space phenomena." As Akira continued explaining the technical details, Alina felt a sense of awe wash over her. This was more than just cultural exchange. This was the birth of something entirely new, a true synthesis of human and Zithran potential. Later that night, as Alina gazed out at the stars from her ready room, she reflected on how far they'd come. What had started as a terrifying first contact had blossomed into a partnership that promised to reshape the galaxy. Her musings were interrupted by a priority alert. "Captain, to the bridge," came the urgent call. As Alina rushed to respond, She couldn't shake the feeling that their alliance was about to face its greatest test yet. The cultural exchange had been a success, but would it be enough to face whatever challenge lay ahead? With a deep breath, she stepped onto the bridge, ready to lead her human Zithran crew into the unknown once more. The Galactic threat. Captain Elena Rodriguez strode onto the bridge, her mind quickly shifting from reflection to high alert. The atmosphere was tense, with both human and Zithran crew members working in seamless coordination at their stations. Status report. Elena commanded, taking her seat in the captain's chair. Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka turned from his console, his usually calm demeanor tinged with concern. Captain, we're picking up multiple distress signals from various sectors. It's not just Zithran or human colonies. We're seeing calls for help from species we've never encountered before. Zixtal, who had taken to spending most of his time on the Horizons Bridge, added his thoughts. The signals bear similarities to Phyraxian attack patterns, but the scale, it's unprecedented. Elena's mind raced. Put it on screen, she ordered. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying a galactic map dotted with pulsing red points of light. Each point represented a distress call, and their number was staggering. It's not random, Dr. Zora Patil observed, her eyes narrowing as she studied the pattern. Look at the distribution. They're systematically targeting key strategic points across multiple species territories. Elena nodded grimly. A coordinated galaxy-wide assault. But why now? And how did they amass such a force without anyone noticing? As if in answer to her question, a new signal cut through the cacophony of distress calls. It was a transmission, addressed specifically to the horizon. On screen, Elena ordered, bracing herself. The image that appeared sent a chill through everyone on the bridge. It showed a being that seemed to be a hybrid of organic and mechanical parts. Its face was vaguely humanoid, but with glowing circuitry embedded in its skin and multiple optical sensors where eyes should be. Greetings, unlikely allies. The being's voice was a discordant blend of organic and synthetic tones. I am Nexus, Supreme Commander of the Phyraxian Collective. Your quaint alliance has forced our hand. We had hoped to conquer this galaxy gradually, but you've proven problematic. Elena stood, facing the screen with determined calm. What do you want, Nexus? The being's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile. Want? We want what we have always wanted. Perfect order. Perfect harmony. A galaxy free from the chaos of biological imperfection. Your alliance threatens that vision. So now, we will cleanse this galaxy in one swift stroke. You're talking about genocide on a galactic scale, Elena said, her voice tight with controlled anger. We prefer to think of it as optimization, Nexus replied coldly. You have a choice, Captain Rodriguez. Join us. Let us elevate you and your Zithran friends to a higher form of existence, or perish with the rest of the obsolete life forms in this galaxy. Before Elena could respond, the transmission cut off abruptly. The bridge was silent for a long moment as the weight of the threat sank in. Orders, Captain? Akira asked, breaking the silence. Elena took a deep breath, her mind already formulating a plan. Send out a general distress call. Use all frequencies, all channels. Reach out to every ally we've made, every species we've encountered. Make it clear that this is a threat to all life in the galaxy. She turned to Zixtal. Contact your hive. We need every ship, every warrior you can muster. The Zithran commander nodded, his mental voice resolute. It shall be done. The Zithran Collective stands with humanity against this threat. Akira. Elena continued, what's the status of that experimental engine you were working on? Akira's eyes widened. It's not fully tested, Captain. We've only run simulations. No time like the present. Elena cut him off. Get a team together. I want that engine operational as soon as possible. It might be our only chance to coordinate a defense across such vast distances. As the crew sprang into action, Elena felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on her shoulders. The fate of not just humanity or the Zithrans, but countless species across the galaxy now rested in their hands. Over the next few days, the horizon became the center of a whirlwind of activity. Ships from various species began to arrive, drawn by the distress call and the promise of a united stand against the Phyraxian threat. Elena found herself in near-constant meetings, coordinating strategies with alien commanders whose languages and customs she was learning on the fly. The diversity of the assembled fleet was staggering, from crystalline beings whose bodies refracted light in dazzling patterns to amorphous energy creatures that communicated through pulses of radiation. Amidst the chaos, an unexpected breakthrough came from an unlikely source. Vexera, the young Zithran scientist who had gifted Elena the memory seed, burst into the war room during a strategy session. "Captain Rodriguez, Commander Zixtil, we've made a discovery." Her mental voice was brimming with excitement. All eyes turned to the young Zithran as she activated a holographic display. "We've been analyzing the memory seed technology, trying to find applications for interspecies communication. But we found something else. Look." The display showed a complex network of energy patterns, pulsing and shifting in intricate ways. "These patterns," Vexera explained, "they're not just memories. They're like the building blocks of consciousness itself, and they bear a striking resemblance to the energy signatures we've detected from the Phyraxian ships." Elena leaned forward, her mind racing. "Are you saying we could use this technology against them?" Vexera's mental voice was tinged with both excitement and apprehension. "Potentially, yes. If we could broadcast these patterns on a large enough scale, we might be able to disrupt their collective consciousness, maybe even reawaken their individual identities." The implications were staggering. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a chance at redemption for an entire species. "Get to work on it," Elena ordered. "Coordinate with the engineering team working on the new engine. If we can combine the two technologies." She didn't need to finish the thought. The possibility of not just defeating the Phyraxians, but potentially saving them from themselves, hung in the air like a beacon of hope. As the preparations continued, Elena found a quiet moment to retreat to her ready room. She stood at the viewport, gazing out at the assembled fleet. Ships of all shapes and sizes hung in space, a testament to the diversity of life in the galaxy and its will to survive. A gentle mental touch alerted her to Zixtil's presence. The Zithran commander joined her at the viewport. "It is a sight I never thought I'd see." Zixtil's mental voice was filled with wonder. "So many species, united in purpose." Elena nodded. "It's what we do best. Come together in the face of adversity." "You humans have taught us much," Zixtil continued. "About cooperation, about seeing beyond our differences. Whatever happens, Elena, know that the Zithrans are proud to stand with humanity." Elena turned to her alien friend, feeling a lump in her throat. "And we're proud to stand with you, Zixtil. Together, we'll face whatever comes." Their moment of reflection was interrupted by the blaring of alarms. Akira's voice came over the comm, urgent and tense. "Captain to the bridge. The Phyraxian fleet has been detected. They'll be within range in less than an hour." As Elena rushed to the bridge, her mind clear and focused, she knew that the next few hours would determine the fate of not just their alliance, but of all life in the galaxy. The final confrontation was at hand, and they were as ready as they could be. With a deep breath, she stepped onto the bridge, ready to lead this unprecedented coalition into the battle that would decide the future of the galaxy. Triumph of Unity. The bridge of the ESS Horizon hummed with nervous energy as Captain Elena Rodriguez took her seat. The view screen showed a vast array of allied ships, a motley fleet of various designs and sizes, all united against the approaching Phyraxian armada. "Status report," Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Akira's fingers danced across his console. "The experimental engine is online, Captain. It's performing beyond our expectations. We're seeing unprecedented levels of spatial awareness and adaptability. Dr. Zora Patel chimed in from her station. The memory seed broadcast technology is ready. We've managed to integrate it with the ship's communication array. If this works, we should be able to transmit the consciousness-disrupting signal across the entire Phyraxian fleet. Elena nodded, a glimmer of hope kindling in her chest. And our allies? Zixtil's mental voice resonated with pride. All ships report ready, Elena. The Zithran hive mind is linked with the fleet's tactical network. We stand as one. As if on cue, the vast expanse of space before them shimmered and distorted. The Phyraxian fleet emerged from warp, a nightmarish armada of biomechanical ships that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. All ships, battle formation Delta, Elena ordered. Remember the plan. We need to keep them occupied long enough for the horizon to get into broadcast range. The next few moments were a blur of motion and light as the two fleets clashed. The space between them erupted in a dazzling, terrifying display of weapons fire and explosions. Ships from both sides were caught in the crossfire, but the Allied fleet held its ground. Elena watched in awe as the diverse array of ships worked in concert. Crystalline vessels refracted enemy fire, creating shields of prismatic energy. Amorphous energy beings flowed between enemy ships, disrupting their systems. Zithran bioships unleashed swarms of organic missiles that adapted mid-flight to enemy countermeasures. We're almost in range, Ekura reported, his voice tense with concentration. But our shields are taking a beating. We can't hold this position for long. Elena gritted her teeth. Divert all non-essential power to shields and the broadcast array. We only need a few more minutes. Suddenly, a massive Phyraxian dreadnought broke through the Allied lines, bearing down on the horizon. Its weapons charge, ready to deliver a killing blow. Evasive maneuvers, Elena shouted, but she knew they couldn't outrun such a large ship. Just as the dreadnought was about to fire, a familiar voice echoed through the bridge. Need a hand, Captain Rodriguez. A sleek, advanced ship unlike any Elena had seen before swooped in, interposing itself between the horizon and the dreadnought. It fired a beam of pure energy that sliced through the Phyraxian ship's defenses like they were paper. Guardian vessel Celestial Harmony, at your service, the voice continued. We've been watching your alliance with great interest. Consider this our vote of confidence. Belina let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Your timing is impeccable. We're about to broadcast the disruptive signal. Any support you can provide would be appreciated. Understood, Captain. We'll cover you. With the Guardian ship providing cover, the horizon pushed forward into the heart of the Phyraxian fleet. We're in range, Zara announced. Initiating broadcast. Now, a pulse of energy, invisible to the naked eye, but felt by every living being in the vicinity, emanated from the horizon. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, chaos erupted among the Phyraxian ships. Some ships simply stopped in their tracks, weapons powering down. Others began to fire erratically, their crews clearly in disarray. A few even turned on each other, as if ancient rivalries had suddenly been remembered. It's working, Akira exclaimed. The Phyraxian fleet is losing cohesion. Elena leaned forward in her chair. This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth Ship Horizon to all Phyraxian vessels. Your collective consciousness has been disrupted. You are individuals again. The choice of who you want to be is now yours. We offer you peace and a chance at a new beginning. For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, a familiar face appeared on the view screen. It was Nexus, but he looked different. The cold, machine-like precision was gone from his eyes, replaced by confusion and something that looked almost like hope. Captain Rodriguez. Nexus spoke, his voice now purely organic. We remember what we were, what we did. He paused, clearly struggling with newfound emotions. How can we ever atone for what we've done? Elena's voice was firm but compassionate. By choosing a different path, by working to heal the damage you've caused. It won't be easy, but you won't be alone. We're offering you a place in our alliance, a chance to use your knowledge and capabilities for the betterment of all species. Nexus nodded slowly. We accept, and thank you for giving us back ourselves. As the Phyraxian ships stood down one by one, a cheer went up across the Allied fleet. The battle was over. Against all odds, they had not just defeated their enemy, but had found a way to redeem them. In the days that followed, the galaxy saw an unprecedented era of cooperation and cultural exchange. The Phyraxians, freed from their collective, brought invaluable knowledge and technology to the Alliance. The Zithrans, once feared predators, became respected peacekeepers. Humanity found itself at the center of a galactic community, their adaptability and creativity valued by species far more advanced than themselves. As Elena stood on the observation deck of the newly established Galactic Alliance headquarters, she marveled at how far they had come. Zik still joined her, his mental voice warm with friendship. You know, Elena, the Zithran mused, there's an old Earth saying I've become quite fond of. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I think that applies to our alliance, don't you? Elena smiled, watching as ships from 100 different worlds docked at the station. It certainly does, my friend, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning. As they stood there, human and Zithran, looking out at the vast expanse of space and the infinite possibilities it held, Elena knew that whatever challenges the future might bring, they would face them together, united, diverse, and stronger for it. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity had played a pivotal role in that change. They had accidentally befriended the deadliest predators in the universe, and in doing so, had ushered in a new age of peace, understanding, and exploration. As the stars twinkled in the distance, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what lay ahead. The greatest adventure, it seemed, was just beginning.